Welcome to the Explainer. So, to really get the gravity of this, we need to step right into the completely exhausted, terrified mind of Emperor Constantine XI. The year is 1453. Put yourself in his worn-out boots for a second, right? You're standing there watching your ancient, supposedly unbreachable city just crumble under endless artillery fire. You are sleep-deprived, you are desperate, and you're praying for an absolute miracle. And then, kinda out of nowhere, one actually seems to show up.
This city is too big. Imagine being the emperor and hearing that bleak assessment shouted over the deafening roar of cannons. And it's coming from a completely strange warrior who just miraculously appeared at your walls. There's no grand sweeping speech here, no shiny promise of divine salvation. Just a cold, hard look at reality from a commander wearing gear unlike anything you or the world have ever seen.
Part 1. A city on the brink.
To really understand Constantine's initial despair, and honestly, why he was so quick to accept these bizarre newcomers, we have to look at the utter hopelessness of his reality. On one side, he's commanding a mere 7,000 exhausted, terrified defenders just clinging to ancient stones. And on the other side, an absolute juggernaut of a war machine.
We're talking about Sultan Mehmed commanding an overwhelming 70,000 men. And he isn't just relying on infantry, no. He's got these colossal bombards that shatter morale just as easily as they shatter stone. I mean, the guy even dragged his heavy ships over land, literally over soil and greased logs, just to bypass the defensive chains blocking the city's harbor. Constantine is literally being squeezed from every possible direction.
Part 2. Angels in strange armor.
Right as Byzantine morale completely shatters, this squad of unknown soldiers wearing strange, patterned armor suddenly manifests near the walls. Constantine watches this in absolute bewildered awe. He honestly isn't sure if they're demons sent to punish him or angels sent to deliver him. All he knows is that they're wielding what look like literal wands of thunder. The concussive crack of modern assault rifles echoes across the ancient stonework, and it just effortlessly obliterates advancing Ottoman armor.
So the emperor quickly becomes entirely reliant on these futuristic saviors, right? But here's the catch. Their magic has a strict, terrifying limit. These US Marines have rifles, radios, night vision, but they completely lack reinforcements. There are no modern hospitals for their wounded, and most terrifyingly of all, their bullets are a strictly finite resource. Every single shot they fire is a piece of history they can never ever get back.
Part 3. The Illusion of Salvation.
Now, for a fleeting moment, seeing his new angels in action builds genuine hope in the emperor's heart. He actually starts to believe the city might hold against the tide. As the Ottoman ladders hit the walls and raiders swarm up, the Marines open fire, and Constantine just watches shock ripple through the enemy ranks, because suddenly distance, heavy armor, and wooden shields become entirely useless. The invaders fall way before they can even swing a sword. For the Byzantines on the wall, it's a game changer. The tide of battle shifts in the blink of an eye.
And honestly, it gets even more surreal for the emperor. You know how night falling is usually a massive advantage for an attacking Ottoman force? Well, these strange warriors use what looks to Constantine like green magic to see in the dark. With their night vision goggles, they turn pitch blackness into a devastating battlefield advantage, breaking raid after raid with these short, highly controlled bursts of fire.
Part 4. Numbers against technology.
But this whole clash brilliantly illustrates the real limit of technology. Standing across the battlefield, you have young Sultan Mehmed, and he coldly refuses to retreat in fear. Instead, he listens. He listens to the intervals between the strange thunder shots, and he realizes these weapons aren't endless. So what does he do? He adapts. He stretches the battle out, attacking multiple sections of the massive wall simultaneously, sending miners underground. He decides he will simply stretch these strange warriors until they snap.
And compounding the problem is this massive culture clash happening right on the walls. Constantine's own men inadvertently create chaotic crises. I mean, they don't understand modern battle formations or interlocking fields of fire or radio communication. They just charge forward with swords and spears right when the Marines need clear lines of sight, tragically stumbling right into lines of fire at the worst possible moments.
And then, the illusion of divine salvation completely shatters for the emperor. The Ottoman bombards roar, a massive stone cannonball explodes near a Marine, and stone shrapnel flies, and the Marine goes down. He bleeds, just like any other man. Constantine realizes with this sinking dread that these aren't angels at all. They are very, very mortal.
Sensing blood, Mehmed launches a grueling, non-stop timeline of violence. I'm talking day attacks giving way to probing assaults at night, followed by deafening cannon fire at dawn. There is absolutely zero rest. This relentless squeeze forces the severely sleep-deprived Marines to dangerously split their already tiny squad just to cover a sudden new Ottoman assault coming from the harbor.
Part 5. The final desperate gambit.
With the massive stone walls literally crumbling around them, and the Marines fighting entirely on adrenaline and sheer exhaustion, the commander turns to Constantine with one final, totally suicidal move. They decide to cut the head off the snake. The plan? A stealth operation straight into the heart of the 70,000-man Ottoman camp to assassinate Sultan Mehmed himself. The thinking is simple. If the brain of the siege falls, the city survives.
Emperor Constantine can only wait on his ruined walls and pray as the Marines slip out into the darkness. Their mission is a classic infiltration. They need to take down the outer guard silently, steal their clothing, and somehow try to weave through this endless maze of giant tents, horses, and ammunition carts just to find the Sultan's command center.
But as they reach the heavily guarded inner circle, the disguise fails. They get stopped by elite guards. Unable to speak the language, with no local accent or correct password, the jig is up. So they drop the secrecy, rip away their disguises, and charge the massive command tent with everything they have left, firing their remaining ammo in a desperate last stand.
They burst inside the royal tent, weapons raised, ready to end the siege, only to find it completely empty. It's a trap. A brilliant, devastating decoy set by Mehmed. The Sultan knew the risk of assassins and spies, and he set a deadly snare that these futuristic warriors walked right into.
Part 6. The Fall and the Future. The Marines realize their fatal mistake far too late. They are surrounded and they are out of ammunition. Back on the walls, Constantine watches his absolute doom approach, because despite the futuristic magic he so desperately relied on, history remains unchanged. A single squad cannot defend an entire city. The sheer volume of the Ottoman forces overwhelms the defenders, and Constantine's magnificent city finally falls. Ultimately, what this explainer proves is a stark lesson in military logistics. Without heavy machinery like tanks, artillery, or air support, even the most highly trained and technologically advanced infantry in the world cannot conquer sheer exhaustion and endless numbers.
But I want to leave you with this absolutely terrifying, provocative thought. Constantinople fell exactly as it did in our history. But now, in the aftermath of the battle, the victorious, world-conquering Ottoman Empire has just salvaged functional modern assault rifles, radios, and night vision goggles from the bodies of the fallen angels. So what on earth happens to the rest of the world now? Let that sink in.